What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. 400 Legend testing continued. Tumble upon impact, highly requested. In just about any caliber you find tumble upon impact, it's a very effective round. It has a pretty good wound channel to start with, and then it keeps going. It's a pretty good piercer. So what happens when you put it in a 400 Legend cartridge, put a whole bunch of powder behind it, and get it ripping at some crazy velocities? We will find out today. If you notice, I have 3 gel blocks lined up. Usually I have 2. I'm pretty sure that this one has a possibility to rip through all 3 of them. There's another test we're going to be doing, and that's the Underwood 200 grain hard cast. I know that one would probably make it through all 3. So between those 2 tests, we've got the 3 blocks out. So Tumble Upon Impact, like I said, is a very cool round. It's a solid copper. It's pretty much the same shape as your typical full metal jacket, except for you can tell it's been CNC machined. Like I said, it's solid copper. They spin these things on a lathe, and they come out really concentric. They're really cool, actually. You can see what seems to be lube grooves in there, but we just use those as crimp grooves. That could have something to do with the tumble effect once it hits the gel. I'm not sure exactly what makes them tumble. It could be the way that they're weighted, but they really do tumble around pretty good. So there we have one of those 125 grain projectiles loaded into a 400 Legend sitting next to its original loading in 10mm. So pretty much a ton more case capacity in the 400 Legend. The 10mm is already a ripper. The 400 Legend is like a super magnum 10mm. That's really cool. The rifle we're going to be using today is a CMMG lower with a 400 Legend upper, and we always mention that this upper came from T2 Armory. You know those guys as the bushwhacker makers. So they made this 400 Legend upper for us to test. It was just something that they were doing as a fun project. They're not selling them out there. I always tell people that so that you don't automatically just try to call them and get one, because they don't do that. They're not selling them out to everybody. But they did make one for the channel, and that's very cool. So thank you, T2. But just so you guys know that there are manufacturers coming online right now that are starting to make the barrels so that you can assemble your own uppers. And there is at least one company I know of that's making the Thompson Center Encore barrels and Contender barrels. I guess you can get them in different lengths, but they're making them to fit on those old Thompson Centers. You can't get Thompson Centers anymore, and you can't get Thompson Center barrels anymore, but there are aftermarket companies that make the barrels that are just as good, if not better. Now again, as of the making of this video, which is the very beginning of September 2023, we have not seen any rifles out from Winchester or Savage or CMMG, and I believe Ruger was the other one. Those were the companies that were supposed to have these rifles out by hunting season of 2023. Hopefully they get something out this year. Let's cross our fingers. Let's just hope. And real quick, as a reminder before we do this test, we have an extensive playlist on 400 Legend. If you're interested in this cartridge, check it out. We've done a ton of shooting. We've reloaded a ton of bullets. We've used the factory ammo. We've got a lot of info. It's really cool. It's a really good cartridge, and we've done a lot of information gathering for hand loaders and for people who are going to get the factory ammunition. And we're not done yet. We're going to keep continuing to test this cartridge. So if you're interested, you know what to do. So hopefully we get a reading through this chronograph so we can get a velocity in foot-pounds. We have the sunshades on today. I warn you now, it could be a bad day for the chronograph. The sun's at exactly the wrong angle. All right, 30 feet off that chronograph and target. Let's send it downrange. We definitely hit it. .2468. All right, we have our entrance. Then coming in from the side, we had to wash off the block. That's why it's a little wet. We have a very uniform track that goes right about to the 15-inch mark. I'd say that's where it starts to taper off a little bit, and it starts doing what the Tumble Upon Impacts do, and they just keep that streak going. It had a little bit of a bursting effect when it came into the second block. Went straight, and right at about the 26-inch mark, it had a little bubble where it must have tumbled itself around, just like Tumble Upon Impact is supposed to do. Then it continued straight, and right at about the 32-inch mark, I'd say, is where we lost it. I think you can see that last little bubble right there in the center, right there. That's where we lost it out of the side of the block. So let's take a look from the top. So we have the pretty much same thing from the top that you can see, the very uniform channel that goes at the top view till about 16 inches out of one block into the next, and then you see it start to veer. Sorry about the glare. You see it start to veer off after that bubble, and we've lost it. Like I said, by the 31 inch mark, we've lost it out of this side. Now I think you can see it from there, right where we lost it. It did go through one piece of cardboard, but it did not make it through the next piece of cardboard. It just dented it, and it flew up in the air somewhere, and it's in this range somewhere. We don't know exactly where it is. I'm not going to look for it all day long, but the bottom line is it was out of juice. So even though the slow motion footage might not be that impressive, the foot-pounds and the feet per second are still there. It's got a lot of oomph behind it. You got to remember that's clear ballistics gel, and that's just one test medium that we use, but it doesn't involve actual flesh. It doesn't represent a thoracic cavity. It doesn't have any bone structure involved or any of those sinewy tissues and this and that you sometimes see. It's just something that we can repeatedly test through and give a comparison to everything else. So there's the information. Use it how you want it. We just like to put it out there what you can do with the 400 Legend cartridge. Like I always say all the time, there's only one offering coming out from Winchester right now, and that's a 215 grain hunting tip bullet, power point, spire point, whatever you want to call it, soft lead tip, and that's all they have. So we're just looking for options at the moment and seeing what works. Leave a comment whether you think this is a useful loading or not. I think it's pretty interesting, but I'm not sure I would use it for anything personally. So we hope you enjoy this kind of testing. As always, thanks for watching this video, and we hope to see you at the next video. Until then, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.